host of the Gridiron.
I did see this here. I saw this. The Giants defense is creating an identity. Very interesting. Now, it was kind of hard after the first week of the season. It was kind of hard to, what kind of identity is that? That they suck? No, but we got here. They're starting to. The Giants' disruptive pack of wolves creating a defensive identity. Now, one thing we could, to be honest with you, the Giants has done a very decent job so far. The sacks are just incredible. We lead the NFL in sacks with 22. That's just phenomenal. And we're on pace. Of course, we're not going to get there at all. But we're on pace right now to have 70 sacks for the season, which is just phenomenal, right? But we could use some more turnovers. That would really be advantageous. And it says here, an identity has slowly begun to take shape. 5 games into the season, the Giants defense has been building an identity just in time for Sunday night's game against the high-powered Bengals at MetLife Stadium. They're ranked 11th in the NFL in points allowed and 12th in yards yielded. Not too shabby. Statistically, that's markedly better than in the past 2 seasons under former defensive coordinator Wink Martindale, who came here hyped as an aggressive blitz master and left with his defense having allowed far too many big plays. Giants defense ranked 26th in points allowed and 27th in yards allowed last season with Wink Martindale, and 17th and 25th, respectively, in 2022. Still not very impressive. The most important statistic for the Giants defense is points allowed, an average of 20.8 points per game after losing 28-6 to the Vikings in week 1. The thing is, we're averaging 20.8 points per game, but you also realize, too, is that 21 of those points weren't from the defense, really. So if you take 21 points off of that, we were low. 21 points off in 5 games. Take off another 4 points per game. A fumble from Eric Gray, run back 102 yards for a touchdown. That wasn't on the defense. A pick 6 thrown by Daniel Jones. That wasn't on the defense. A fumble. The 24-yard pass, okay, but Eric Gray shouldn't have fumbled the ball. That's part of football. I get it, all that stuff. But the next play, a touchdown. Well, if Eric Gray actually holds on to the football, right, the next play is not a touchdown for Cleveland. So you can literally almost take 21 points off of that, which would be 4 more points. So the Giants would be defense would be averaging like 16, 17 points a game given up. Pretty good. Right. Let's say the Giants have yielded 21 points to Washington, 15 to the Browns, 20 to Dallas, and 20 to Seattle. Not too shabby. Defensive coordinator Shane Bowen, who replaced Martindale and runs a very different, less risky scheme, is overseeing a unit that leads the NFL with 22 sacks. So the Giants defense has been disruptive. But they're talking about they gave up 20 points to Seattle. They didn't give up 20 points. The defense gave up 13 points to Seattle. Giants didn't give up 28 points to the Vikings. The Giants defense gave up 21 points to the Vikings. And if Eric Gray holds on to the football on the kickoff, right? And I don't even know. I'm not sure if it made it to the end zone or not. I don't remember. But if it made it to the end zone, if he would have just taken a knee in the end zone, right? We don't give up 7 points 11 seconds into the game against the Browns. It's like a pack of wolves out there, everybody trying to get to the football, linebacker Micah McFadden said. Let's see. Make it a race to the football. Who can get there first? It's just guys going out to hunt. Giants defense will be dependent upon to hunt Bengals on Sunday night because their quarterback, Joe Burrow, is one of the true gunslingers in the league, and he has serious weapons with Chase and Higgins. Bengals quarterback has completed 72% of his passes for 1,370 yards, 12 touchdowns, and only 2 interceptions. And has a gaudy 113.6 rating. Whew, man. He's playing an elite level. He has for a few years now, Bowen has said. It's been impressive what he's been able to do up to this point this season. He's really good at seeing defenses pre-snap. Really good at reading. He's very good at reading defenses. And even when you blitz him, you send the pressure, he's still completing his passes at like, I believe, over 60%. So it's almost like pick your poison, So he is completing, obviously, when you blitz, his percentage goes down, obviously. But now if you blitz and you have fewer people in the secondary to cover, when he does complete it, you have less people, obviously, in the secondary to tackle. So it's almost like pick your poison. I mean, when he's not being pressured or not being blitzed, he's completing over 70%. When he is being blitzed, he's still completing over 60%. And, and the scary thing is, like, when you got, like, a Chase out there, I mean, my God, he could just take something short and just take it to the house. It's like, we better be good tacklers on Sunday night. I'll tell you what. I've had experience in playing him over these past years, Bowen, right? And it's always been a challenge with him. The accuracy, the decision-making, can put the ball where he wants to put it and has the ability to extend plays with his legs. Then Bowen went on after catching his breath. You're dealing with those guys on the outside, Chase and Higgins, and they're having monster years right now. Chase leads the Bengals with 29 receptions for almost 500 yards, 17 yards per catch. Has 5 TD receptions. Higgins, who missed the first 2 games, has 18 receptions and 2 TDs. Andre Yosavash, I believe that's how you pronounce it, has 3 TDs among his 12 receptions. And Gesicki, terrific pass catcher, has 17 receptions. So they got some guys that can catch the ball. The word from Bowen and the Giants defensive captain, Bobby Okereke, when asked about the team's defense, is progress. I feel like we've been progressing well, Okereke said. We've been getting better every week. What's the word? Synergistically. We've been buying into the scheme, really embracing the way that Shane coaches and calls it, making the scheme come to life. Giants defense, particularly with edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau, on the shelf indefinitely with the wrist injury suffered Sunday in the Seahawks game, needs to come to some serious light Sunday night. The Bengals team, the Giants will see, will be a desperate, hungry, and perhaps angry group. They came in 1-4. If they go 1-5, they can basically pretty much kiss like any playoff hopes. I mean, 6 games into the season, they can pretty much almost kiss their playoff hopes goodbye if they've 1-5. So they're going to come in here, with something to prove, without question. So it's almost kind of like, to whatever, to some degree, if you want to call it that. With the Bengals coming in 1-4, it's, you can kind of relate in a small way to like what the Cowboys kind of, their run defense. You can run up and down on them all night long, right? Just turn the ball off. You get thousands of yards on them. Nope, not happening. Didn't happen. So you be careful. There's a wounded, pissed off Bengals team. They've gone through training camp and all this stuff, and they have expectations. Maybe, I'm sure that some of them have Super Bowl aspirations, but I mean, worst comes to absolute worst, right? They got aspirations coming into the season. We're making the playoffs. I mean, that's a gift. We're good. So they go 1-5. I said they can almost bye-bye. I mean, it's a tough division. Tough division. I mean, you got the Ravens, right? The Steelers. So it's going to be a tough division. So, I mean, a lot of teams. Obviously 16 teams in each conference and all. If you're 1-5, you got a lot of teams to climb above. You better go on a roll. Out of what about 11 games left? You better plan on going 9-2 maybe the last 11 games or something. Good luck there. Let's see. The 4 Cincinnati losses have come by only a total of 15 points. Obviously, they did have a tough loss. I mean, this past week. I mean, interestingly, it was almost like the offense was kind of almost the one that kind of blew it for them, because in overtime, there was no turnovers, not one. Jackson went back to pass. I think the ball got knocked out. And Cincinnati recovered it in decent field position. All Cincinnati had to do was get like 2 first downs, I think, and they would have been like in field goal range. Couldn't move the ball. Had to punt it back to the Ravens. Ravens just walked down the field against a crappy Cincinnati Bengal defense, particularly Henry, right? And then they kicked the field goal 1. So they've only come by 15 points. The 4 losses, obviously, this past week, it was 3 points to the Ravens in overtime. They 6 to New England, 1 to Kansas City, 5 points to Washington, and 3 to Baltimore. So, I mean, they've lost to some good teams. They lost to Baltimore, they lost Kansas City, and they lost to Washington. They lost to 3 really good teams. So I can't believe I'm actually putting good team and Washington in the same sentence. That doesn't make much sense. But the Giants, Giants only lost to the Commanders by 3 points, right? They lost by 5. They're obviously a team that's eager to win, McFadden said. They've been in a position to win all of their games, so obviously they've been really close, just like us. Well, it's the same thing. Same thing. Same thing with the same thing with the Giants. Except for the first week of the season, against Minnesota, the Giants losses, they lost 21-18, and they lost 20-15. If they had any kind of luck at all in either one of the Commander game or the Cowboy game, and they scored maybe a touchdown against the Cowboys, or they actually had a field goal kicker against the Commanders, heck, the Giants could be 4-1 as well. So it is what it is.